Is there blood? Who's killing who? Where do they get shot? I have to see. Things are really starting to get exciting. Yes, 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 yes!
What's up guys, I'm Noob Genesis and I am back with episode 2 of the interface editing for WoW modding. And this episode is going to be a little more, this is probably going to be longer, and I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing. Right in the middle of this this episode and the last one and whatnot, I did this little interface plan. And this is what I'm going to do, is I want to make it so the pages have there's going to be 4 pages basically. And I'll load up WoW. First page is going to be the races, the second is going to be gender and customization, then the class page, then the preview and name. And what the idea of this is just to free up a lot of space on each of the pages. So basically on the first page you're just going to have this kind of section here, the race buttons, and you choose your race and you can rotate and look at your race, and it's going to have the race info. But everything else is going to be gone. Like, all it is going to be a back and a next button, and the rest is all gone. The reason for this is it means in the future, if I wanted to add something much more custom, like after I edit DBCs and stuff, I can. I can add different sections. I could add larger info sections. I could add, like, I don't know, maybe offshoot races or something. But either way, I can make so much more stuff out of it. And it just leaves it open to the possibilities. And the same goes for each of the pages it's going to have. So that's how we're going to be doing it, and just here's a little brief overview of what we're going to be doing. I'm probably going to do each episode by each page, but honestly, after this first page, you're probably going to know how to do it because it's very simple stuff, and that's what interface stuff is. It's very simple, it's just people don't really understand how simple it can be. So the first thing we're going to be doing is probably the hardest thing, and that's just making it so the frames. We need to have numerous frames, like a frame per page, and the frame is like this whole section here is one frame. Like everything in here is attached to this frame, which is you got the border outline, you got the background, you've got the race buttons, you've got the race labels, you got the gender label, all that crap, all the customization buttons, all of this is part of this frame. And we're gonna have to make multiple frames so there's one frame per page. So we're gonna have to do that now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the character customization frame, I think it's called. Something like that, but we'll see it in a sec. Character configuration frame, that's the one. And what we're going to do is we're going to have to copy all of this. Absolutely all of it. Now I've got to remember where to stop. Alright, so I go to here, I'm pretty sure. Copy that. Click on that just to make sure, because I don't want to fuck up. Yeah, right, it does link to that one. And again, this is the power of Notepad++. You gotta love it. It's such a great program. So I'm just going to copy this underneath, or paste it underneath, sorry. And then we're going to scroll up higher, and we're going to name this configuration frame 2. And I'm probably going to do one of these each of the actual episodes rather than doing them one at a time. Doing them all in the same episode. I'm losing my voice. So we're going to change these to 4, 5, 6 because all these files have to be different, just the same as this, otherwise it will screw up. And now these are the relative 2 points. This is no longer relative to number 1 because number 1 is not in this section. Number 5, yep, and then the border has to go from 4 to 6. So that's easy enough. Now this is character frame 2. We want to go to number 1, and now what we're going to do is remove everything that's not going to be in it. So we don't need all these race buttons and, the gender buttons, the class buttons, and the customization buttons. All that stuff isn't for the first frame. The first frame is just the races and the banner and stuff like that. So we're going to go like this. We need the labels, because the labels are the Alliance and Horde label. We want them. The gender buttons can go. So these two font string, this font string can go. This font string can go. And as you saw, that had like this, that was all in green. You can, instead of deleting it, go like this, and it just turns it into a comment. Hang on, let me go to the end of this. You can do that, and it just turns into a comment. That's going to do the same thing as deleting it, it's just, it means it's still there. However, I know I don't want it, so I'm getting rid of it. So now if I save this, you're going to see that, oh, actually, I don't know if that'll work. Oops, reload UI, that might crash. No, it didn't crash, but it did give this error because I've got multiple race buttons and stuff sitting around. But anyway, that doesn't really matter. So what we're going to do, alright, one way I can fix that, possibly, is we're going to come in here, and we're just going to go, what is it? What's it called? Customization frame, it's that. We're going to hide frame 2, because we don't want it actually showing. at the start. Hide that. Whoops. Capitalizations. Always important. Reload UI. There we go. So it hid the frame too. So now you can see also this is gone and this is gone because that's the 2 font strings I just deleted. So now we're going to come back in here and keep deleting things. Race buttons stay. What else are we missing? Gender buttons can go. So we go to the check button to check button and check button to check button. And if you know what I mean, is like you got this is the start of the check button and this is the closing of a check button. I wanted to get rid of all of it. And I need to do the same for the class buttons. I don't want them. I don't want the character randomization button. I don't want the customization buttons. So where's the end of that? That one ends there. All right, so we go like that. Now where's this frame end? All right, so we do want to keep that. And that should be that for this first part. So there we go. All that frame stuff's gone. Now, you can do 2 things here. You can shrink this background border, but I don't think it actually needs to be there, to be honest. Like, those banners look pretty nice on their own. So I think I might just get rid of this entire back border. Or at least for this frame. This frame I will. So we need to come up here to configuration frame, the top of it, and we need to get rid of textures, the borders. I don't want that. I don't want either of these, so they can also go. I'm going to leave that there because I do want the layer levels just to be there, just in case I want to use them in the future. So now if you see this isn't going to get rid of all of it. It's going to get rid of all these borders around it. Like that. So now it's just this little box around it. You could use that if you wanted to. It's fairly easy to use. We're going to get rid of the background now, and that should be that. The only problem is it's going to have this little part here. And that's because it's actually part of the image. If you want to get rid of that, you're going to have to actually edit the image yourself. But that's a whole another thing of extracting files and editing in Photoshop. And I'm not going to be doing that in this. This is just more of a actual how the interface works. I will probably do a touch-up thing at the end of all these episodes, but you never know. We'll have to wait until I get to that point. So that's that done. Now, that's all we really needed to do for this part. What we need to do now is actually hide a whole bunch of stuff. Now, rather than chucking it in here like I've done with this, I'm going to do something different to hide it. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a function. And the reason I'm going to do this is because if I create a function, it's going to be so much freaking neater. Char create, let's call it startup. Whoops, nope, that. That means when it goes on show, it's going to run this startup thing. So let's actually call it character create because, well, why not? It's not an actual button or anything. It's going to be a function. So now I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to actually create this function. Where are my last buttons? There they are. All right, so function, whoops, not chat, character create start up. That was a capitalized U, so you've got to make sure you get that right. And again, you don't have to put the semicolons at the end of the function because they're ended here. But you do have to do it for the things inside the functions. So now we need to hide a bunch of stuff. Now, first things first is I want to, again, this is just to keep it neat because I don't want to have, like, I don't want to have 10 or 15 things in this section if I don't have to. This section is not meant for that. This section, this whole startup function is meant to be for the startup of just the frames. Like, that's what it's there for. That's why you create a function for it rather than chuck it into other functions with their own purposes. It keeps things a lot neater. So that frame 2 needs to be hidden. And I'm going to add to this as I go with the other frames, but I haven't added the other frames yet. Next up, we don't actually want the hide and show buttons, to be honest. Because the hide and show buttons hide both of these, or at least the show button is going to hide both these. And I can't bother adding states right now. I may edit that in the future, but for now, we're just going to make it so this actually shows permanently on this screen when you're in the race frame, at least. So what we need to do is hide these buttons. And again, this is how simple editing this stuff is, because really, interface editing is not complicated. You can do amazing things with it later on, and there goes the hide buttons, by the way. But on the base of it, it's very simple. It just takes a little creativity. And at the end of this, we're going to have a nice little unique create a character screen. And it's going to just mostly consist of copying, pasting, and adding a couple buttons. It's that simple. So anyway, what's something else we need to get rid of? We need to get rid of the class info. So what was the class info called? Not going to find it in here. It's going to be further down. Where are you? No, it's actually going to be at the top. God, I'm hopeless right now. Where is it? Here, character create race. We want class, but doesn't matter. I know what the name of it is. Just go copy. And then we change that to class. Hide that. Save, so that should be another thing gone. Yep, that's that one gone. Alright, so now we need to get rid of the name box and the name label and the randomize button. That stuff is further down. That should be, yeah, here, rotate left. We actually want to keep the rotate buttons because people want to look at their character as they're creating. I mean, you select a race, you want to see what the whole race looks like if you don't know what it already looks like. But we do need to get rid of the name edit. And I came across an interesting error while doing this once. The randomize button refused to go away. I don't know why I did it, but it just wouldn't go. And I'm just doing this every time just to make sure things are actually disappearing. So next up we have, that's the backdrop. Here we go, character create name random. Now this screwed up last time, and I don't know why. Hide, Control save. It's doing it again. It doesn't want to go away. It's been a stubborn little bastard. But what you're going to do, sometimes you come across these errors and you figure it out at some point. But for now, I'm just going to leave it because I'll probably do that in the breaks, like in between episodes, because that's going to take a while for me to figure out. And I'll let you know at the start of the next episode what was the problem. But anyway, moving on, what else do we need to do? Alright, so we've removed everything we need to remove. We need to remove the accept button, actually. So I'll remove that. But actually, no, before I do that, I need to edit the back button. Because the back button here, you can see relative to create button OK. Like, it's going to be positioned based on this one. I don't want it to do that. I want it to do something different. See here? The show button is relative to the actual whole create a class thing. I'd rather it be like that. So I'm actually going to copy this entire anchor because I want this to even be in that spot. Actually, no, not quite where I want it to be. I want it to be on the opposite side. So this needs to be 768, I'm pretty sure. Reload UI. But you can see the button's still really small. I don't want it to be small. And the reason for that is, as you can see here, this one is glue button template. That's the things that it inherits. I haven't actually explored the inherits much. I know basically what it does, but I haven't actually explored the details of it. This one had small in between. We don't want it to be small. So we get rid of that. And then as you can see, this needs to go up to 160 because this is the background part, and 35 because we do want it to be the same size as the accept button. Now if we reload, back button's bigger and more noticeable. And I'm going to chuck the next button right there. However, we need to create the next button. So let's just copy the show button. Bam. Alright. This is going to be next button 1 because we're going to need a next button for each of the things. We want to change the name or the text to next. And as you see, I accidentally deleted parts of it, so make sure you reattach them. Otherwise, you're going to have some errors that you don't want to have. Now, function next 1. Whoops. That's easy enough. Now if I go that. And now I need to hide the accept button. I said that weird, accept. The button's called OK, isn't it? If you're not sure what a button's name is completely, just go and look at it and copy it. It's so much better to copy it because you know you're not going to make a mistake if you do that. Reload UI, there's the accept button gone. And the accept button's eventually going to be moved to where this next button is, but it's going to be on page 4 when you're actually done. So that's it for now with this page, but I am going to do the next thing where I show you how to get to the next page. Actually, no, I'll chuck that in the next episode because that is more of a next episode thing because we are going to be starting up the next page. But anyway, so I'll leave it at that for now. But that's how you simply do this, is just cleans up the entire page. Very simple. Later on, I might extend this. I'm not really sure. But that'll be after I'm done with all the mechanical stuff. Because I like to do things mechanically, then aesthetically. And I don't know, I find it better that way. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video.